We're at a Charleston landmark since 1867. We're going to talk to the owners and Mayor Joe Riley coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're in Charleston, South Carolina, at one of Charleston's more prominent shopping destinations, Luden's. We're visiting with Sheila Butler, the general manager and part owner of Luden's. Good morning, Sheila. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Good morning, Craig. It's so nice to have you here at Luden's this morning.
Thanks so much for having us in all week. The opportunity to highlight so many spectacular folks here in the community, so many activities going on within the Low Country and within Greater Charleston, and the ability to be here at a location that, when you mention Luden's, there's really not somebody who says, I know how to get there. When you're asking them, do they know how to get here? Can you talk a little bit about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm not. I'm a North Carolinian by birth, but I have been in Charleston for, almost 50 years. So naturally, I feel like that I am almost a Charlestonian.
It's tough to, having not had this as your hometown, your birth town, it's difficult, but at the same time, you've made that transition well.
Yes, I have, and my whole family has, as a matter of fact. We came here as a young married couple, my husband and I, and our 3 boys we've raised in Charleston. They're all married. They each have 2 children and 6 grandchildren, all total.
Is that right? Are the 3 boys here in the area?
Yes, all 3 of them.
Is that right?
And we feel very fortunate.
That's wonderful. Are they involved in the family business?
Well, actually, they're not involved presently, but there is one that I know that will carry on the family business.
At some point.
He's being prepped for that.
Yes.
And also some of the grandchildren.
I'm sure. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about Luden's? Why do you think the Butlers purchased Luden's?
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. The Luden family that started Luden's back in 1867, the gentlemen, the brothers, they were old, and I don't believe they had anyone in their family that really wanted to carry on the business. So consequently, they put it on the market. And my husband has always been one that looks for good investments, and we bought Luden's.
What year was that, Sheila?
That was 1965.
Okay, great. And you said the store was founded in
1867.
Was it under the name Luden's then?
Yes, it was. And we actually, as I've just almost said, we are the second family to own Luden's.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What products did the store originally provide, and who were its prime
Well, it was a ship's chandler.
Okay.
And they provided the ships coming into the Charleston Harbor with the items such as foods, screws and bolts and paint and, whatever a ship back during those years might need when they came into port.
And when folks would think of Luden's, what is Luden's most famous for?
Luden's is very famous in that we have a wonderful customer service, not only when the customer comes to us from all parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, all states in the United States, and over the world, I might say, we very definitely cater to their needs. And when they do call on the telephone, we very happily, each and every one of us, try to fill their needs of whatever the items are that they're looking for.
And do you have to change your offerings over the seasons as other retailers do?
Well, yes, we do, to some degree, of course. In the summertime, naturally, the clothing is lighter, wintertime heavier. But basically, Luden's is what you see each time you come in. We carry Old Town canoes and kayaks. We have fly fishing, Orvis. We're an Orvis store. For the ones in the audience that know of Orvis, we have fly fishing, and we have instruction for the fly fishing. We have clothing out for the outdoorsman, and that is here all year long.
Sheila, when walking into Luden's, what's the first thing a first-time visitor would see?
A first-time visitor, you would see to your right these old cabinets that we have. You would see history. History since 1867, because we were fortunate enough that when we purchased Luden's, to be able to keep the antiques that they had in the store. So you would see glass cabinets displaying all those, even some of the ledger books that they had written in we have.
Amazing.
And it gives for a very wonderful, wonderful feel of historic Charleston and what historic Charleston was and still is all about.
Sheila, what makes Luden's customers return?
There again, I think it has to do with the smiles on the faces of our employees. When they walk in the door, we say, "Hello, how are you? So glad to see you." And we wait on them, and then as they leave, we say, "We so enjoyed having you. Please come back again." And they do.
Very definitely. And they do. You heard those words. Sheila Butler, general manager and co-owner here of Luden's. Come visit next time in Charleston. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Sheila.
Thank you, Greg, for coming. You're welcome anytime.
We're excited about being here all week. Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Charleston, South Carolina. We're at a Charleston shopping destination, Luden's, and we're visiting with Dee Meader, who runs the Orvis shop here at Luden's. Dee, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Dee, real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
Yes, I am.
You're
Born
from
and raised in Charleston.
How long have you been associated with Luden's?
A little over 3 years.
Okay. And before you began work here, did you had you had some experience with Luden's?
Oh, yeah. Luden's is kind of one of those stores that's a place that has a lot of local history and culture about it. Actually, Luden's is the reason that I got into the saltwater fly fishing, being the Orvis shop in town. When we were over on the water, I actually used to come up in the back of the store with my boat and bring fish into the people. So it's an interesting story. You know, people are very friendly, they have good product, and there's people that come to town, the first place they want to come is Luden's.
Very definitely. I'm sure that'd be the case for a lot of viewers. There are probably a couple of viewers who wouldn't know what Orvis is. Real quick,
Orvis is an outfitting or an outdoor or an outside type clothing and outfitting shop. They sell everything from shotguns to clothing to rods and reels to knives to dog nests to hats, whatever you need for the outdoors. It's a sporting lifestyle. Orvis is.
And Luden's would be the only Orvis
shop in Charleston. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Can you tell us about the boats that are available here at
Sure.
Luden's?
We sell Old Town kayaks and canoes. We sell Islanders sit-on-tops, and we sell the Ocean Kayak Ambush, which is a great activity boat for Luden's. It's a boat that's designed for fly fishing, duck hunting, or throwing a cast net. So it fits into this store perfectly with the kind of activities and stuff we sell out of the store.
Okay. And Dee, most of your clients would be familiar with the equipment they're purchasing, or do you have to give instructions?
There's both. It's about a 50-50 deal. You know, Charleston is kind of one of those areas where people hunt and fish and are out the doors quite a bit, so they know something about it. But we have a staff and we have the equipment that is very family-oriented, recreational type stuff.
Okay, great. Can you tell the viewers real quick about the fishing equipment that
Sure.
Luden's offers?
We carry the Orvis line of fly fishing equipment. Orvis also has light inshore tackle. Nice thing about Orvis equipment is that, for example, if you were to buy an Orvis fly rod for 25 years, unconditional warranty on that rod.
25
years. And that means if you close it in a screen door, if your dog chews the cork handle off of it, whatever may happen to it, your wife may accidentally step on it or grab it with the vacuum cleaner. I've seen that happen with fly line laying up against the wall. And all you have to do is bring it into Luden's, and we mail it off for you and call you back up and tell you when your rod's repaired or replaced.
That's amazing.
It is.
How much time do you spend outside of the store?
As much as I possibly can. We do a lot of events for different organizations. We're involved with the Southeastern Wildlife. We do the Shallow Expo. We do the boat shows. We try to go out in the community as much as we possibly can to expose people to our product.
Dee, what do you like best about your job here as running the Orvis shop here at Luden's?
I enjoy reacting with the customers, interaction with the customers. I like the outdoors tremendously. Going to these events and being able to do casting instruction or doing some hunting or fishing is, a Charleston lifestyle. So it's just a really nice job to have to be able to do.
If you want to learn more about Orvis or even about Luden's, the opportunities abound here in Charleston at a shopping destination. Come visit Dee Meader. Dee, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Appreciate you coming and seeing us.
Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Charleston, South Carolina. We're visiting at a famous shopping destination here in Charleston, Luden's. And we're visiting with the Holy City's mayor, Mayor Joseph P. Riley, Jr. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Greg, thanks for having me. Welcome to Charleston. Welcome to Luden's. It's a great place.
It really is. I was thinking earlier about asking you if you're a Luden shopper, but I guess that there's no way to live in Charleston and not be a Luden shopper.
No way. I've been shopping at Luden's since I was old enough to shop. Been at different locations, but it's a landmark. It's a real institution here.
It truly is a Charleston tradition. I want to open up real quick with something I saw in the paper recently. Even up in Myrtle Beach, they cover events happening down in Charleston. I saw that Charleston been recognized as the third most traveled or most recognized destination by Condé Nast magazine, behind San Francisco and New York. What is that like, to know that the city of which you've been mayor for almost 27 years has been recognized in the company of cities like New York and San Francisco, and well ahead of some other unbelievable cities in America?
Well, it's a wonderful reinforcement to the community. You know, it was favorite places to visit, not the most heavily visited, because Las Vegas or other places visited more, and it was a qualitative thing, and that makes us feel very good. For what we sought to do here in Charleston is create a place that is a great place to live for our people. Mm-hmm. And then if we do that, it becomes a great place to visit. And we're very proud of that. And obviously, it's good for business, too. Very definitely.
Very definitely. As the mayor for 27 years, there have been so many programs and events going on during your tenure that have really helped improve the city. To be recognized at that level in a qualitative sense that it's been recognized. Can you talk real quick about some of those programs over your tenure as mayor? And I know that's difficult to encapsulate even in a 15-minute interview, but to think about some of the activities.
Well, first of all, whatever's been accomplished here has been with me, City Council, and our citizens working together. It's certainly nothing that I could do alone by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I ran for mayor to bring our community together racially, and I think the racial progress the city has made, the participation of African Americans and women into our government, into the community leadership is very important. I knew that was essential for Charleston to be a great city, for us to be a just city, for us to deal with our historical responsibilities. We had a downtown that was dead, and we worked hard to restore it. And one of the reasons we're the third place to visit is because our downtown is very unusual. It's healthy. It's got a bustle and life and excitement, and the restoration and opening of our waterfront is very important, as well as providing beautiful, affordable housing for our citizens and making Charleston a leader in public safety, among others.
Mm-hmm. How about some of the programs that have been established in Charleston that have really made you a leader in urban design? Can you talk for some of the viewers? Of course, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD and on the Grand Strand and up in southeastern North Carolina, folks that don't necessarily hear Mayor Joe Riley or city council members on a daily basis. But some of the programs, there's so many.
Well, the city was a leader in historic preservation in America. So the fact that we didn't tear down our old buildings, even those that were in bad shape, and restored them and kept them, we became an international preservation leader. And then in the late 70s, we did something that has won international acclaim as well. And when we had the chance to build affordable housing, public housing, rather than do what had been done in our country for 50 years, create ugly housing projects, we said, no, we're going to create separate buildings or complexes of buildings and design them individually so they would blend into the neighborhood. And we did it without costing any more. And that really, I think, created a revolution in the attitudes about building affordable housing and put Charleston on the map. We started building parking garages that didn't look like parking garages when so many of the cities in our country had hulky, ugly-looking things that people built. Well, it's just for cars, what it's supposed to look like. Well, we made them very beautiful, and I think that started a movement in our country. In cities, you so often see handsomely built parking garages, and those and others were things that have been nationally and internationally followed, and cities have sought to replicate them.
Speaking of structures that have been bought and that cities have been built, cities have sought to replicate. I think recently we've heard a lot throughout South Carolina and throughout the Carolinas of the Cooper River Bridge and some of the impact that that bridge will have on not only Charleston, but also throughout the state and on commerce in general. Can you talk real quick for some of the viewers who may not have heard on a regular basis about the Cooper River Bridge?
Well, it will be one of the largest bridges in the world, certainly in our country, and covering the Cooper River. There are two bridges there now. We'll replace those two. It will be very large and but graceful, 8 lanes wide, and I think easily become an icon, a physical icon for this community in this part of South Carolina. And going over it, you will have a view of the historic city that's unbelievable. You can walk across it, and there are benches. Once you get up to the top, you can sit and look out over historic Charleston Harbor. It will really be I think an international event when it opens, and something that people in this part of the world will come to look forward to experiencing.
And you think it'll benefit other parts of the state as well?
Well, I think it will bring people to Charleston. It will make certainly driving from the Grand Strand and the PD down to Charleston on Highway 17 a more spectacular event. It makes our harbor more productive because it will be greater clearance and a wider channel passage. So the Port of Charleston, which is so important to this part of America, not just to South Carolina, bigger vessels will be able to come under the bridges where most of the port facilities are. So it will have an economic benefit as well.
Mayor Riley, can we talk real quick about law enforcement and crime reduction? Two words that have been recognized so well under your tenure, and as you stress, under good city council or city councils over that 27 years.
And a great chief of police, Chief Reuben Greenberg. He's the best chief in America. The most important thing that the government does is protect its people. You start from that point. The other things you want to do as well. So we have a city with a high crime rate, and just as important, a high perception of crime, and working with more police, better trained police, better programs, great leadership, getting out in the community, getting to know the citizens again. We dramatically reduce the city's crime rate. Per capita, Charleston is safer than it has been really since any meaningful numbers started being recorded, and our people feel safer. And we bring people from around the country. Twice a year, our police department has a seminar, and police chiefs and local government officials come to study their techniques and their procedures to make the city safer. It's the most important thing that a government can do.
Not only do you want a city to be safe, you also want it to look safe and look nice. And preserving your downtown has been a highlight not only of your tenure, but of everyone who lives in the Charleston area or visits the Low Country. They want it to look nice. Can you talk real quick about some of the activities going on to preserve the downtown, to make it attractive not only to tourists but also to businesses?
Well, you need to operate strategically when you're building and rebuilding a downtown. So we did a strategic plan to know what we needed to put where, and then put them in. The Charleston Place redevelopment, a major hotel complex, what that does is that put people out onto the sidewalks. You need people moving up and down the sidewalks to create the energy so that a building that was vacant becomes a desirable location for a store and a restaurant. And then piece by piece putting in the parking, improving the streetscape, making it safe, foot patrol, those kind of things, public transit, trolley-like vehicles. You know, there isn't a silver bullet, but in the restoration of a downtown, you put all the pieces together, and the end result is that has become a place that people come to visit in Charleston. They come to see historic buildings and those things, the waterfront. But many people come to Charleston to shop in a real old-timey, bustling downtown environment. And I don't think there's a better one in America than our King Street.
No. Coming from one of the shopping capitals of the world, Myrtle Beach, and spending a lot of time in the PD, it's difficult to think, albeit Myrtle's is all spread out, as you know, and we're very fond of that environment, but I'm sure a heck of a lot of folks from the Strand and the PD love to come to Charleston for that opportunity on King Street and many other streets here, as well as getting to Luden's.
Yeah.
Real quick, for viewers in the PD and the Strand in southeastern North Carolina to try to understand why Charleston is recognized as such a cultural, a highlighted city for culture and for the arts. Why do you think so many folks, why do you think arts and culture flourishes so well in this city?
Several reasons, Greg. First of all, our heritage. We were a cultural leader a couple hundred years ago. The first opera, first theater was in Charleston. We created Spoleto Festival USA in 1977 with the backdrop of a heritage that supported the arts, and then that created just a phenomenal explosion of interest in the arts, of symphony, chamber music, ballet, visual arts. I mean, I'm sure we have more visual artists, the city our size, in the country than any in the country, with perhaps the exception of Santa Fe, which is a different kind of situation. And then I think it's the physical beauty of the place, the quality of the built environment makes the arts allows them to more naturally flourish. It works. It's not a forced thing. It's a natural thing, and it really is amazing.
Hey, Riley, are there any plans on the boards for any new cultural centers?
Well, we have several. Actually, the African American History Museum is in the planning stages right now, and that's going to be fabulous. It will present for our country, not just for people in this part of the country or in southeastern North Carolina, the Grand Strand, for our country. It will present the history of Africans as they came here. History you don't know anything about. Where they came from. They came as slaves, how they were brought here, what they did when they came, where they lived, where they went, what their practices were, religions, cultures, trades, crafts, and all of that. And 40% of all the slaves who came to North America came through the port of Charleston. So this city, more than any other city in the country, has an opportunity and a responsibility to present that. That will be built down near our waterfront, not far from where we are now, near the South Carolina Aquarium. We're also going to be opening next year a new art gallery on the waterfront, part of our waterfront park, a contemporary art gallery. We're also working on the Children's Museum of the Low Country, a fabulous hands-on opportunity for kids, a wonderful board. We're using in fact, the oldest railroad complex in America, where the railroading began, is being adaptively reused for our children's museum. And we've got, and some other ones as well. This is, the cultural life is alive and well in Charleston. Very
definitely. Mayor Riley, there's so many more questions I'd like to ask. We've just got a couple of minutes. Are you a native Charlestonian?
I am. Born right here.
You went to school here in the area?
Did. I went to grammar school, high school, the Citadel, the law school at South Carolina, and then came right back home.
That's wonderful. Do you remember what your first childhood job was?
Yeah, it was construction work in the summer. I worked for a contractor, and I was a laborer.
Right.
With doing carpentry and those kind of things. I loved the work. And I learned a lot. Our first job, so always indelibly imprinted on our memory and the experiences. It was a lot of fun and hard work.
Oh yeah, and the
great thing is, I made $1 an hour. I thought I was rich.
$1 an hour? You probably were then. So many folks, in their mind, think of you in the 27 years as mayor of this magnificent city. It's always important to recognize there was something before law school. There was a childhood job. That opportunity is immense. One last question. If you weren't currently the mayor of Charleston, what do you think you'd be doing?
Well, I've probably would be practicing law, but I would be involved in the community. I see the job of mayor is the job, like many other people in the community who are serving the community. Mine perhaps more high profile, but I see myself as a community servant. So if I wasn't mayor, I'd be working with volunteer organizations as well as, you know, making a living, but trying to give back, to make my community a better place. And I hope that I will be able to do that as long as I'm healthy and alive.
You heard him say it. If he wasn't mayor of Charleston, he'd be doing something to give back as a true public servant. Mayor Joe Riley, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Very definitely. Stay tuned for more Carolina People. We want to thank the Butler family and all the staff here at Luden's for making Carolina People such a great success.